What's up, everybody? I'm Derek. This is Rocking E-Forge, and today I am in downtown Jackson, Wyoming. I just stayed at the Ranch Inn last night. I am on a multi-thousand-mile road trip across the country. Now, I am looking for a cup of coffee and some breakfast this morning, and as such, I am headed to Cowboy Coffee just a couple blocks down the street. So I'm gonna get my coffee and breakfast, and then we will touch base on the plan for today. All right, got my coffee and breakfast sandwich, and we are wandering through downtown. Just kidding. I'm heading to one of the town's visitor centers because Google Maps seems to think that the visitor center in Grand Teton, both of them, are closed, which means that theoretically I can't get my stamp for my National Parks passport, which is one of my priorities on this trip. So before we head back into the park, because in that video, I drove through it, saw a couple of grizzly bears through somebody's spotting scope who was gracious enough to let me look through it, and a whole bunch of elk on my drive through Grand Teton to get to Jackson, to the hotel I'm staying at. So we're gonna get to the little visitor center, ask around, and see if there's any way to get these stamps. So well, it's open, but there doesn't seem to be anybody here to ask questions. So all right, so apparently no one works at the Jackson Welcome Center, so I'm wandering a few more blocks down the street to the Bridger Teton National Forest Welcome Center. Hopefully we can get some answers. All right, we got answers. Sounds like they are available at the entrance stations or at the Jackson Hole Airport. So I'm heading back to the hotel. Gonna go ahead and pack up the truck, check out, and head back into the park for probably a couple hours. And then we are getting on the road again to West Yellowstone, Montana, where I will be staying for the night and touring around Yellowstone either this evening or tomorrow morning, or a combination of both. So let's get to it. All right, we're in the truck and we are heading to Moose, Wyoming, which is in Grand Teton National Park. It is where the entrance station or the headquarters to the park is, and I am hoping to get my stamp for the passport there, since the Jenny Lake Visitor Center and the other one, which will be right across the street from this place, are closed. So odds are good I won't be able to get stickers, so I may have to order those online. As far as Jackson Hole and Grand Teton National Park stickers, I guess I've been to enough places this morning that had Jackson Hole stickers that I could have bought one, I guess. But we are underway. It's about 15 minutes up the road to Moose, Wyoming, into Grand Teton National Park. It is a nice, beautiful, sunny day. There's still some clouds out kind of around the mountains, but I'm hoping, different than it was last night, I will actually be able to see some of the mountain views and get some of the picturesque shots that I wanted to get on the way through. And then we're just gonna kind of wander around, look for wildlife for a little bit, and then probably get on the road to West Yellowstone, Montana. So I'm probably gonna get on the road about noon today. It's about 10 a.m. right now. Now I am not driving through Grand Teton through Yellowstone in order to get to West Yellowstone, because the road between the two parks is currently closed. There's seasonal flooding in that area, and there's really only one safe, passable road through Yellowstone National Park for regular vehicles right now, unfortunately. That kind of blew up my plans. I was originally going to go northwest from Wind Cave to Cody, Wyoming, and then drive through the park down to Grand Teton and back up, or at least drive through to West Yellowstone and then down to Grand Teton. But because that road is closed, now it's basically a 2.5 hour to 3 hour drive around into Idaho in order to get to West Yellowstone. So my plans shifted. I went to Grand Teton first. Now I'm going to go around the parks to West Yellowstone and then backtrack into Yellowstone and then back out to West Yellowstone, Montana, in order to see Yellowstone National Park and get some hopefully decent footage. We're getting closer. There were some people chilling in the garage unloading zone of the visitor center, and they were very helpful in pointing me in the right directions, back in the direction I came from here a second ago, and keep going further down the road. I guess there's a guard shack or a gate. We go back to the stop sign and turn left, and we're going toward Jenny Lake, which is about 8 miles down the road. I think that'll probably be good pictures anyway. And sounds like the guard shack and the actual like entrance or like way to get in and show your pass and all that stuff is just down the road here, quarter mile. So fingers crossed there's somebody manning it and I can get my stamp. Otherwise, sounds like I can mail into the National Park Service or the Grand Teton Service Society, something, and they will mail me probably one of the little circles with the stamp on it. But there are cars stopped here at the gatehouse, which I think is a good sign that there are people here and I can get my stamp. Quite the process when the visitor centers aren't open. All right, so I got my America the Beautiful pass, my passport. I'm gonna flip it open to the page I want them to stamp. Right here, I'm hand it to them. Just like that. Got our stamp. No sticker, but that we can order online. Not super worried about it. But I'm rolling into the park proper, I guess, to Jenny Lake to go see the views of the lake and the mountains and just the beautiful landscape. And we will see if we can find any wildlife along the way. Just kidding. Okie doke. We are not going up to Jenny Lake. Well, I was mistaken. Turns out the road going up to Jenny Lake is closed. So we're gonna head back out through the little gate area and hit the main road going north and just see what we can see. See the views, see the animals, and go find where a bunch of people are stopped on the side of the road and see what they're looking at. There is a fly shop here. They do guided fishing lessons. I don't need any of that. I just want to know what kind of flies we need. It's the hazards of showing up to Grand Teton and probably Yellowstone in the off season is nothing's open. So roll back to the gas station, hit the restroom, and then get back on the road. All right, well, that was a bust, but it's now 10:45, which means I gotta get rolling up north fast so I can see some stuff before I need to get on the road. All right, we're at the glacier turnout, and the cloud cover, or the clouds in front of the beautiful landscape, are still out there, but looks like there's some little placards and stuff out here to go see and take a look at those, and hopefully the clouds will shift a little bit and we can get a little better view of the tallest peak here in this little line of mountains that we've been driving past. Very interesting. I didn't know that this area was kind of dedicated to John D. Rockefeller, thanks to the effort and the money that he put toward conservation. So that's pretty cool. I think that's pretty neat. If you didn't realize it yet, and I wouldn't blame you, this is Grand Teton with a peak of 13,775 feet above sea level, or 4,199 meters. I've got a couple pictures of the peak that's still kind of covered in cloud, but for the time being, we're gonna keep driving and hoping those clouds skedaddle. Then we can get some decent shots of Grand Teton. So, fingers crossed. Something worth noting, if you are planning to make a trip to Jackson or Jackson Hole, Wyoming, same thing. The actual Grand Teton Peak is like 20 minutes north of town. The rest of Grand Teton National Parks kind of sprawls out to Yellowstone and out to near Dubois, about 30 to 45 minutes from Dubois, Wyoming. So if you're looking to make a trip out here, I highly recommend it. There's fishing, there's hiking, camping, and everything to do in Jackson itself, all of the kind of touristy things, the shops and the restaurants and bars and things to do in Jackson. And it would make for a great 3-day weekend, week-long stay, vacation, something like that. It'd be an absolute blast, and it wouldn't take anything at all to just drive up into the park, totally free. This portion of the park is totally free to come through, and you can just go casually see Grand Teton, which is pretty sweet. So but look at that. This would be a gorgeous shot of the mountains if they weren't obscured. All right, well, the clouds seem to have stagnated, so I'm going to keep moving on. I'm going to be real disappointed if my attempts to get nice shots of Grand Teton itself are thwarted by a couple of clouds, but seems like that might be the way we're headed. So, back on the road, a little further north, and then I'm going to turn around and head back to Jackson for lunch before I get on the road. Look who followed me. What are you doing? This is the Cattle King of Wyoming. Its fence was built in the 1800s. No, I'm just kidding. No idea when this fence was built. Okay, so we just came into the Moran Junction area of the park, back through an actual entrance gate. I'm gonna go take a look and see if there's any pullouts or anything, any wildlife to see. I have been looking for wildlife, and so far the only thing I've seen are ravens and a bald eagle. So there's still a portion of the river that is frozen over, which is kind of interesting. Its air temperature is like 48 right now. Its water temperature must be pretty cold. And we got 11,000 summers in the Tetons. But it sure is not summer right now. It is still just the end of April. Still snow on the ground all over the place. River's partially frozen over. Beautiful nonetheless. Couldn't ask for a better day. It's now past the time that I wanted to be on the road to West Yellowstone. I'm gonna roll back, and instead I've just got a grand idea. Instead of getting lunch in Jackson, Wyoming, I'm gonna be stopping at that little restaurant at the spot where I couldn't get into the fly shop. that place looked pretty sweet, ought to be open and ready to serve food by now, and looked like a cute little place, and the views out the windows were phenomenal. So we're gonna get back on the road, and if I see any wildlife or if the clouds part from around Grand Teton, I will stop and take pictures. Otherwise, I'm gonna start kind of making my way toward West Yellowstone. It's been fun here in Grand Teton, but alas, we have to get going.
All right, so we're gonna go to this little pizza shop, presuming they are open and serving food, in order to get some lunch. Now that was Dornan's Pizza and Pasta, and I got the Thor pizza, or Thor Mountain pizza, I think, which was phenomenal. Meat lovers pizza, basically, with caramelized onions on it. It was absolutely delicious. So definitely recommend checking them out if you are in the area. But it is time for me to get back on the road, so let's roll.
All right, we are getting back on the road, and I just stopped at a little convenience store to get some water and drink. And they happen to have stickers, and it saved me from not getting a Grand Teton National Park sticker. And to make it even better, one of the employees of the little convenience store here in Moose, Wyoming, makes these stickers, and that just makes it like 10 times better. Because not only did I get my sticker for the national park that I could put on my cooler, but I supported some local awesome guy who makes these stickers and sells them at this little shop, which is pretty cool. So yeah. Anyway, we are back on the road, and we are headed to West Yellowstone, Montana. There may or may not be a distillery on the way, the Grand Teton Distillery, no less. And as such, I might be stopping and having a taste or buying a bottle of whiskey on the drive up to West Yellowstone. But without any further ado, let's get on the road. Alright, so we just got down off of Teton Pass, and we just crossed into Idaho, ran into a little bit of rain, nothing, major. And we're about 18 minutes or so from the Grand Teton Distillery. Now, of course, I'm driving, and I'm by myself, so I can't have anyone drive for me. So as far as tastings go, I might do very small, limited, like taste one or two of their signature spirits. I don't even know what they sell, honestly. But really, it'll be tasting with intent to buy, basically. But welcome to Teton Valley. Best of both states, Idaho and Wyoming. But yeah, I'm in the process of moving across the country, and thanks to the way the Navy moves people, I've had the opportunity to drive across the country and hit as many national parks as I can. And we're going to visit a distillery before we get to West Yellowstone, Montana. Alright, so we just entered Driggs, Idaho. Turns out Teton Valley, back about 15 minutes, was in fact not the place that I was going. I still got about 2 miles up the road. This looks like a cute little town. I'm almost certain I know somebody from Driggs that I went to college with. We'll be getting here to the distillery here in just a minute, and we'll see what they got.
Alright, we just pulled into the Grand Teton Distillery. Let's go see what they got. We got Grand Teton Distillery. Handcrafted small batch. Let's go inside. Alright, that place was pretty sweet. Tiny little tasting room. I was the only one there. Chatted up with the dude that was there giving me the little taste. I got 3 little tastes. I had the Teton malt, the Coulter's Run, I think, and a bottle that I bought, which was an 8-year aged premium blend.
Also got a sticker. I had to. I got a sticker at Old Forge Distillery in my last video series. I figured I had to at this distillery, but I got their Grand Teton Private Stock. According to the dude that sold it to me, this is the oldest aged bourbon in Idaho, which is pretty sweet. So very good tasting notes. Love the taste of it. It cost me more than I probably should have paid for it, but specialty bottle of bourbon on a road trip. It's a tradition at this point. I got one at Old Forge Distillery, which I am still finishing up, thankfully. Lovely. This one is also another 100 proof, so I am keeping the tradition strong for every road trip that I've been on. But I'm gonna have to save this for later because I still have about an hour and a half to West Yellowstone, Montana. So let's get back on the road and we'll see you in a little bit. I'm remembering the unfortunate reality of this town in that it is a very seasonal town, and it pretty much closes down up until about May 1st. So I'm off by about a week, which is unfortunate, but we're gonna go find our hotel and we're going to figure out what I want to do for the evening. I'm probably going into the park. Should be pretty good. All right. So I just got checked into my hotel room, dropped off some stuff, and I am back in the truck. And I'm gonna roll into Yellowstone National Park. First stop is going to be the Grand Prismatic Spring, and after that I'm going to go to Old Faithful. I'm gonna get those two kind of iconic places out of the way so that tomorrow morning I can go to the Wolf Sanctuary here just at West Yellowstone, just outside of the park, and then go into the park for probably a couple more hours looking for wildlife and whatever else I can see, and then get back on the road to either somewhere in Montana or all the way to North Idaho. I haven't really figured that out yet, but I am trying to get to Coeur d'Alene, Idaho in the next day or two because I've got some friends that live there and I'm staying with them and visiting them once I get there for at least a day or so. But in the meantime, let's go see Yellowstone National Park. Good news, I got my stamp, I got a map showing me what roads I am able to traverse, which is good. Turns out it's really good that I went to Grand Teton first and then up and around, because the route between Cody, Wyoming and the northeast entrance is in fact closed. The road is getting plowed from snow feet tall every single day. So glad I ended up going to Grand Teton first and driving around up to West Yellowstone, because I wouldn't have made it otherwise, and it would have been a day or more waste of time basically driving back somewhere else to get down to Grand Teton. So hop back in the truck and we are able, thank goodness, to make it to Old Faithful tonight. So that's our final destination before coming back here to get dinner and drink. We are in Yellowstone National Park on our way to the Grand Prismatic Spring, and we're going to do the little boardwalk loop and then head on to Old Faithful and hopefully catch a geyser eruption before heading back to West Yellowstone to grab some dinner and relax for the night. So plan for tomorrow morning is forming in my head, but at this point I'm thinking I'm going to come back into the park, drive up through Mammoth Hot Springs, and then exit the park through the north entrance. That is another road that is open all the way up, and head up through western Montana and then head west to northern Idaho to go visit friends. So I took a break, or a quick detour here, because I remembered seeing in this area, right here on the grass, right next to the river, bison, the last time I was here. And sure enough, I can't tell what they are, but right over there are a couple of very big animals. And I'd be hard-pressed to say those aren't bison, just based on the general shape, and you can't hardly beat this view. Already showcasing the natural beauty that is all over the place here in Yellowstone National Park. But since they're not super close to the road, I'm not going to spend a ton of time sitting here trying to film them. I sadly don't have any telescopic lenses for my cameras, so we are getting back on the road.
Lesson learned from the future, I need to get a telescopic lens for either my camera or my phone or both or something so that I can really reach out there and see the cool wildlife that is in all of these national parks. So, learned some lessons from the first trip I did. I need a GoPro mount for my helmet. That I have done, and did a little riding in Indiana Dunes National Park. And now I need telescopic lenses for either my DSLR camera or for my cell phone. Anyway, on to Prismatic Springs.